Since we're now halfway through the year, I figured it's a good time to check in and review how we're doing with this year's goals and intentions and plan out the next 90 days in this interactive session. So grab a pen and a journal or maybe a digital notebook and stick around to the end because I'll also share with you my reflections on the last quarter. That's April to June and what my goals and intentions are for the next quarter, July to September. You guys found the last quarterly plan with me session really helpful, so I thought I'd do another quarterly check-in for the third quarter, that's July to September of this year. The midway point of the year is also a really good time to reflect on what went well, what didn't go so well, and whether we want to adjust our goals if things have changed along the way, as they often do. If you set New Year intentions at the start of the year but haven't made a plan of how you're going to get there, it's time to do the work. Because there's no point in setting New Year's intentions if that's all we've done. Set them. At least take little steps to start to reach your goals. And even if you don't hit them all by the end of the year, at least you've taken some steps to get there and you're closer than you would have ever been if you hadn't started. And this is part of what a mindful life is all about. Being intentional with our time, creating that time and space to do the work. And helping you live your intentional life is what this channel is all about. I'm Jaime at Enlightened Spoon, feeding your mind, body, soul. If you're into nutrition, yoga, meditation, and all the other personal rituals that help support your intentional life, you might like to subscribe to my channel down there. And while you're at it, why don't you give this video a like too? So hopefully more people like you and me can find it and we can help build this mindful living community. Okay, have you got your pen and notebook ready? It's probably best to set aside around a half hour and find a quiet space where you won't be distracted while you reflect, review, and plan. Of course, this also means put your phone away, turn off all notifications so you can really focus on this. I'll be giving you some journal prompts along the way, questions or statements for you to reflect and think on, and then I'll indicate when you can press pause on this video as you're reflecting, writing, and setting your intentions, and then whenever you're ready for the next prompt, just hit that play button again. Before we begin, let's do a short little meditation, just a couple of minutes to clear the mind and connect with your heart space, and drop down into this more feeling space so it's rooted in your authentic self and what you truly want to move towards in the next 90 days. So if you're ready, wherever you are, getting comfy. If you're sitting on a chair, ensuring both soles of the feet are grounded into the floor beneath you. Sitting bones are rooted down. Feel a long line of extension up the spine and all the way through the crown of your head. Closing the eyes and start to tune into that quiet space inside of you. Everything else can just fade away into the distance, allowing all 5 senses to be open. Even with the eyes closed, your sense of sight, your sense of smell, hearing, taste, and touch. Feeling the surface beneath you supporting and holding you. And then tuning into the heart space. That energetic heart space within the rib cage. And just feel a slight expansion through that heart center. From this open heart space, let's set the intention to stay open and curious to any and all of the thoughts or emotions that may arise in today's reflection and intention setting session. Everything is allowed to be present. Stating your intention to stay open and curious to what arises. Now, very slowly, open your eyes and let's start with reflecting on the past 90 days. Your first journal prompt is, describe April to June in one word. If one word is too difficult, use 2 or 3 words. Next, rate from 1 to 10 how much you agree with this statement. In the past quarter, I took steps to move closer to my 2021 intentions. As long as you were taking steps, that's what matters. Don't judge if those steps were fast enough or too slow. The fact that you took some kind of action is what matters. Next, pick out 3 highlights. This could be anything you've accomplished, feel proud of yourself for having done, or stayed consistent with. It doesn't have to be big. Small things like drinking a big glass of water after waking up every morning is definitely a win. Next, pick out 3 challenges. Was there anything you struggled with in the last 3 months? What were the main difficulties you had? Next, let's reflect back on the first half of the year and write down any highlight or challenges so far. Or perhaps, has there been something surprising about 2021 you've encountered so far? Next, what have you learned? If you look through your list of highlights, challenges, and reflections on the first half of 2021, is there anything that stands out to you that perhaps you hadn't noticed before? Or are you realizing something new now that you look through these reflections? Next, what's one thing that can be improved moving into the next half of the year? Next, is there anything you want to shift or adjust in your 2021 intentions? If you're still on track, great. If you're not, or if you've had any new learnings, how are these going to shift or adjust your bigger overall goal or intention for the rest of this year? How were your last 3 months or even your first half of the year? What were some of the highlights or challenges, and what would you like to continue with or perhaps improve on moving into the next 3 months or next half of the year? Do share in the comments below. If you're getting value out of this interactive session, do hit like and subscribe to this channel too for more like this. Now, let's look ahead to the next 3 months. If you set goals or intentions at the start of this year, go back and revisit them. If you haven't and don't know where to start, I like to think of the 4 pillars of mind, body, soul, and purpose. You can watch this previous video. I'll also put the link to it below. There are 7 habits I find important, and the first 4 are how I define the mind, body, soul, purpose aspects of life and what you can do to support them. You might find it helpful to start there. This is just the first step in living a more deliberate, intentional life by design. Nothing changes if nothing changes. And sometimes we just need to do things differently or try something different and see how that might shift where we are right now to where we want to be. If we never try something new or set intentions or goals to move towards, then we can't really complain about feeling stuck. So for the next 90 days, it might be helpful to pick just one thing you want to focus on to help you reach your goals for this year. Keep it simple. Next, finish this statement. July to September will be focused on. Next, my top 3 goals for July to September are, if it helps, think of the 4 pillars of mind, body, soul, and purpose. Watch the previous video I mentioned before if it helps. The link is also below. Next, break this down into top 3 goals you'd like to accomplish each month. Next, break this down into weekly goals you'd like to accomplish. And this is where there's some flexibility to the planning. You can just keep it high level rather than going into the details right now, because as you live through it and do the work, you might find you want to adjust some of these weekly plans, and that's totally okay. If there's one piece of advice I could give you, that's start small and keep it simple. The easier something is to do, the more likely you are to do it. 5 minutes of meditation a day is more achievable than 1 hour or even half an hour a day. And the more you get into the habit of showing up and doing the thing, the more likely you want to keep that streak going. And then you could maybe consider increasing the time spent on it. Maybe. Next, schedule weekly or monthly reflection and review time with yourself. If you're finding this exercise helpful, imagine what it would be like to do this every month, if not every week. As important as setting goals is, it's equally as, if not more important, to keep checking in with those goals periodically to determine how we're doing and what needs to change if we're not hitting those goals. So schedule the time in to review and reflect. This is part of doing the work. It could be helpful to think of fixing just 1 day of the month or 1 day of the week where you're going to check in and review. So every Sunday, for example, is where you're going to check in and do your weekly reviews, or every first Sunday of the month is when you're going to be doing your monthly reviews. And you can use this same video with these same prompts to check in with where you're at. I'll do another one of these at the start of the 4th quarter in October, so subscribe to this channel and stick around for that if you want to check in and review along with me. If you're still here in this video, I guess you really want to know how my second quarter went. In one word, balanced. If you remember from my first quarter video, my one word was exhausted. I wasn't even clear at that time what I wanted my second quarter to look like, and I just needed some time and space. And I'm glad to say I found it. Or rather, I was intentional about creating that time and space I needed. My 2021 intention is find rest, because I tend to push myself and overdo it. So feeling balanced in the last 3 months definitely helps support my bigger theme for the year to find rest. April and May felt like transitionary months. Amsterdam was starting to come out of a mega lockdown, and now indoor group classes are allowed again, and so that definitely helps with boosting both my mental and physical health. I'm also so happy to be back teaching yoga in the studio again.
Yeah, let's go.
In between a small but intense production for my advertising job, we were able to have a bit of fun, like scheduling a spa day in Amsterdam. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen this on my stories already. And then in June, we did a road trip from Amsterdam to the mountains of Italy, where we spent a couple of weeks hiking. I made some videos for the channel while I was there. You might like to watch this one on connecting with nature, with some beautiful forests and mountains, or this one on how to pack like a minimalist pro. Hopefully you get to plan a summer vacation in the next few months, and maybe this might be helpful for you. And then what completely surprised me, and I'm so grateful for, is just under a year of committing to posting weekly videos, this channel hit 1,000 subscribers and more than 4,000 watch hours in the middle of June, which means we're now monetized. Thank you so much for your support, because I could not have done this without you guys. Of course, my focus is really on building this mindful living community and giving you the tools to help you build the life you want with more ease and flow. So keep those comments coming. Any questions you have or suggestions for video topics, I am all ears. Help me help you. The other exciting thing that's happened, we bought an apartment together. It's a brand new construction that won't be ready until 2023. Yes, that's in 2 years, but in the meantime, I'll be moving into my guy's apartment sometime in the second half of this year. So yeah, I think my next quarter will be all about decluttering, moving out of my beautiful apartment. I've spent more than a decade living here, and this is the first apartment I've owned on my own, and so there's a bit of emotional processing that goes along with it. You know, it's all of the mixed emotions. Again, there's so much to be grateful for and to look forward to, but I'm really not looking forward to the decluttering and moving out process. But hey, maybe it'll lead to more videos on decluttering and minimalism, which you guys seem to like. I know I need to be mindful of this year's theme of find rest, even through all of the change that's coming up. Managing that alongside my advertising producing job and continuing to make these videos on this channel. And that's me. What about you? Would love to hear what you're committing to in the next 3 months. What's the next half of this year going to look like for you? Share it in the comments below, because when we make our intentions known, we are more likely to be held accountable and then do the thing. If you want more ideas on what building a mindful life means, I have a playlist over here. Or if you enjoyed our opening meditation, you can continue with bringing your attention to this present moment with this meditation over here. I hope this helps you flow through your busy life with more grace, ease, and flow. And don't forget to smash like and subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you in the next one.